I was always sad about not ranching because that's what I knew, that's what I grew up with, that's what we did. And with it gone, I was very angry about that and very bitter, and I avoided anything to do with ranching or ranch people or any of it for years.
Yeah, I haven't always lived here. Actually bought the property in 2005, and I walked down the driveway, and there was these large olive trees. They're about 100 years old, according to the records that were left here. And I looked up and I asked God to give me a sign to bring an income in on this property. And so the first thing I thought about was olives, counting olives, and I thought, there's no way I can count olives. So I said, please give me another sign. And olive oil popped into my head. So I immediately came into the house and Googled olive oil and found a couple guys in their 80s down in Modesto, and I called them. And they were so gracious and opened up their hearts to me and told me exactly what to do with all of these olive trees.
And I couldn't see a way in. And you know, in the 70s and 80s, there weren't many women who were able to go out and get jobs working on ranches by themselves. So I didn't see a way in. Then I had some friends that had been inviting me out in this area to come and ride with them for several years, and I finally gave in and did that. And it was the first time I had been behind cattle in like 35 years, and I remembered what it was that I loved about it. And so I bought their last 2 horses when they left that ranch and made a offhand comment to a friend of mine who was cooking for another ranch a couple days a week that I wished I could find something to do with these guys to at least pay for the feed. And she goes, hang on a minute. And she comes back and she says, well, you want to day work on Fridays, because they rode 2 days a week and Fridays was one of them. She says, you want to haul over here and day work? Sure, I can do that.
I love about growing olives and making olive oil. I love the people that I meet that I never would have met in a lifetime. I've met so many people and they've become great friends. And you know, people come from Italy, Switzerland, Florida, Boston, Hawaii, all over the United States. So I never know who's going to drive down my driveway, but I always just enjoy them so much.
Production funding for American Grown, My Job Depends on Ag, provided by James G. Parker Insurance Associates, helping to protect and grow Valley agribusiness in California for over 40 years.
By the Gar and Esther Titilian Charitable Foundation, a legacy of giving to support the people that make agriculture grow.
Farms feed families, public television feeds minds. By Brandt Professional Agriculture, supporting the heroes that work hard to feed a hungry world every day. By Unwired Broadband, today's internet for rural Central California, keeping Valley agriculture connected since 2003. By Harris Farms, a tradition of working forward to protect the future of water, ranches, and farms in California and beyond. And by Valley Air Conditioning and Repair, family-owned for a half-century, dedicated to supporting Valley agriculture and the families that grow our nation's food.
Probably one of my first memories, other than we had a winter camp where we kept the cattle in the wintertime, and we would go up there and feed during the winter, go up each day. And there was this huge wood stove in this little tiny cabin. But one of my first memories, they had always let me ride big horses, and for my 4th Christmas when I turned 4, they bought a Shetland pony, and I was scared to death of her. And so every time I rode her, she would throw me off. Every time. But she did teach me to ride. And she would throw me off and trot off a little bit and then come back and look at me on the ground and wonder when I was going to get up and we could go on. It was my dad and my uncle were partnered, and from the time I was big enough to hold on to the back of my uncle's pant leg, I was out with him. I rode with him, I worked with him. We we had 200 acres of farm, so we put up hay, but I was always with them. I never stayed in the house with my mom, I think much to her dismay, but I always worked out with them. Prescott, when I was small, when I was young, was a very small town, and it was a center of ranching, and most everything all the way around it was ranches, and a lot of it still is, but it's grown so much, and so many people have moved in that don't have that link to the agricultural base that it's changed a lot now. But at that time, almost everybody I knew was in agriculture in some form. I don't remember ever not being adopted, and my mom used to read me books about it that they'd gotten from the adoption agency. My mom had come from Ohio. She was the daughter of a farmer in west central Ohio and had ended up out in Prescott and worked at a grocery store. And my dad did business there, and back in the days when you took your list and handed it across the counter and came back later and picked up the groceries that somebody had pulled for you. And he was born on that ranch. His father had come from Italy as a child and worked in a dairy for a while, and then worked in silver mines in Pioche, Nevada before he came to Prescott in 1900. When I was about 15, they had made the decision to sell the ranch. They had a buyer that promised to keep it as a ranch and let my dad still go out and run a few cows and cut wood and keep the house. And he went solely on the fact that they said they would keep it a ranch because they promised they would never subdivide it. So after I got out of high school, I had some friends that wanted to move to Colorado, and I moved to Denver the following January and started working in manufacturing there. And that's where, well, my kid's dad and I were both from Prescott. We had met there, but he was also living in Colorado, but further south, so we started dating up there and ended up getting married, and then moved to New Mexico and then back to Arizona. My father-in-law doing construction, building houses, doing remodels, things like that, and I was going for my contractor's license, but it was pretty clear that my husband and I were going to divorce, and the partnership with his dad was not going to work well in that situation.
We have the trees here, and these are a winter mission. They're mission trees, and it's a winter harvest. We're going to harvest, I guesstimate, about 3 weeks right now, and the olives have to be black and purple to the pit.
Awaken me, awaken me to the mystery.
And if you look around at the entire orchard, you've got green olives, you've got half black and green olives, and some of them hit the ground, and that's okay. It's a-okay, it's just part of the process. So when I walk over here, if you look, we're on the same tree. They're going to turn out, they're turning now. They're transitioning. So these are purple, and we're waiting for them to turn black. So I'll harvest these, and there's a black one in there. But I'll show you the inside of a purple one. And it's still got the green. Then we have to start picking the olives in the morning at dark. We get a fire going on out here, and we harvest, and we have to be through the gates by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where our press is. It's $1 million press. It's all organically certified, and we have to be through that gate by 3 or we get locked out. So cold press would be within 24 hours of picking. Ours are picked and pressed the same day, so we're really proud about that. What I think about women in farming, I think it's great, and I think that women who are farmers need to be examples and mentors for younger women who are in college, coming out of college, to show them that you really can be a woman and be a farmer. I am a woman. I'm the only one that does this. It's me here. There's no husband, there's no dad. My dad passed away. It's just me, you know, so when the water pressure pump goes out or the well goes out, which it has, it's just me, and I have to figure it out. It's a lot of problem solving. So that's it. It's just me. I don't have anybody else.
Awaken me, mystery.
In early 1995, I left the construction world after my divorce and got a job in manufacturing, just in very entry level, assembling, put the parts in the box. And as the company grew, I was able to move up with it and went through different training and different experience just by being in the office with them. That I did technical assistance and purchasing and inventory control, and then added human resources and employee benefits to that. And I did that for a good number of years until 2008, when everybody in the world was getting laid off, and I was part of that group. Came back to Prescott and was able to go and day work for Gail and Amy Steiger up on the Spider Ranch for the summer. And then that fall, another friend of mine was on a ranch called the Howard Mesa north of Williams, and he needed somebody to be a water tender and haul water and work on pipeline and stuff. And I ended up doing a lot of riding and stuff with him too, because he was up there by himself. So that worked out pretty well, but they had put the ranch up for sale, so I was looking for an opportunity that was longer term. And in the spring, I got a call, or I had heard that this Pipeline Ranch camp was open, so I called the guy that owns it and came down a few days later and interviewed and moved in. I've been here for 2.5 years. This place has probably been here, I would say, from the 1920s. I haven't been able to get a real good history on it, and the people that would have the best history were involved in a lawsuit, so it's a touchy subject for them, and I don't push it, but I hear little bits and pieces from different guys. The pipeline that feeds this place off of a spring is, it's all gravity feed, comes out of they put in a head wall and put a pipe in it, and it feeds this entire ranch. And a hunter out here said that his grandfather was the one that actually put that in like 75, 80 years ago. This ranch is located in southwest Yavapai County, close to Lake Alamo, about 32 miles northwest of Wickenburg, which is 40 or 50 miles northwest of Phoenix. Most of the time out here I am by myself. The only time there's really other crew around is when we're doing spring and fall works and when we ship steers the end of May. Other than that, I'm pretty well on my own. If I need help, I've got backup, but I try to keep it to a minimum because it's so far to come from the other ranches to get here.
So I'm going to bring you into my world here, okay? So this is a harsh reality of farming. My entire crew is not here. So I have bins, I have tarps way down there, porta potties, I have all these beautiful trees, but I have no men or women to help me harvest. So I made a phone call, and they're pruning, so they're out pruning grapes. Just kind of waiting, tick tock, tick tock. All right, I'll bring you back next when they show up. They're on their way. I just go out and I do what I do, and I treat people like I want to be treated, and I try to make the best product that I can make with the olive farming. It's always fun to see the people, because we carry a vast amount of flavors, not just cold press. I've got lemon and orange, garlic, basil, rosemary, habanero. And we'll probably be coming out with another one this year. This is, just bottled basil olive oil, so you can see how clear that is. It takes about a ton of basil per bin of olives to get this flavor. It's great on pasta, chicken, fish, salads. So this is where we do our olive oil tastings. We have people come from all over the country to come taste olive oil, and from Italy, Australia, Florida, Hawaii, Boston, New York, and we bring them in our home and we let them go ahead and taste all the different flavors of olive oils that we make. So it's really neat to see them. Second week, got some tall trees. Look at the olives on these. And they're harvesting them, so they hit them with a pipe, with a PVC pipe, gently. The trees have been around. When you come down our driveway, those trees are 118 years old. Now in the Bible, it says, you know, there's trees that lived over 3,000 years old over in Egypt, but these are pretty old for this area, and they produce. In our first year, they were above yield, and that was just really exciting. And we did what's called dry farm those, so we didn't water them at all. Those trees actually pulled from the rain and the moisture in the air completely. We didn't irrigate them at all. My family gets involved. It's really incredible. I've got one at Cal Poly, one at San Diego State, and one at Chico State. These kids have grown up in this business. They know they've harvested, they have bottled, they have irrigated, they have labeled the bottles. We don't send this out to co-packing. We have control on everything that we do, and I can literally, seriously, tell them I'm gonna be gone for 6 months and they will be able to run this company. From running a credit card to taking people's, you know, money to refilling bottles, because that's what we do too. I haven't mentioned that. The kids' idea was to refill people's bottles. So when people bought olive oil from us, they bring it back and they refill their bottles, and they can refill them with any flavor. It's really great to see them back. I probably might not see them for a year, but because they come back and refill their bottles here or at the farmers markets, I see them quite often. The kids are behind the booth in the summertime. I think that the customers really enjoy seeing them and watching them grow, and I'm hoping that that this sticks with one of them. I just don't know which one, so.
This is the Pipeline Ranch. It's been a ranch, not necessarily as a pipeline, but it's been a ranch since the late 1800s. It covers about, I think it's just under 40,000 acres of desert that is the blend between the Sonora and the Mojave Desert. So you get a unique blend of wildlife and a unique blend of plant life. Things that they say don't grow in the same place do here because the way it fringes together. And the cattle here, we graze cattle here, and the animal units per acre is ridiculous compared to places that actually have grass. But they work so hard, and they know exactly what they can eat. And here, down in this little flat valley here, I'm lucky to have a lot of mesquite because they produce the mesquite bean. And if you talk to somebody from Texas or Oklahoma, they hate the mesquite. They're trying everything they can to eradicate it. I would love to have more because the mesquite bean provides such a great food source for the cattle. This desert is incredible. I love being here. These cows are incredible. And I love the responsibility of taking care of them. Not that I do a whole lot, I just make sure they're healthy. And I love the trust that's placed in me because I'm here by myself. And sometimes, you know, I'll talk to my boss once a month on the phone and I won't see him for 2 or 3 months. When I worked on the Howard Mesa Ranch, I was driving some heifers in to headquarters from a pasture. And that ranch is split by Highway 64, which is the main route between Interstate 40 and Williams, Arizona to the Grand Canyon. And traffic's very heavy on that road. And as I drove these cattle along road behind them up this valley, the cows were black, there was snow on the ground, so we were very obvious. We're 60 feet off the road. And I watched the cars going by, and out of all of the vehicles going by, only 3 people actually saw me.
And why do you think that is?
I think they're so in tune with getting to the next place, or, you know, the passengers are buried in their phones because there's phone service out there. And open country like there and this here in this desert, they don't feel like there's anything there because it's not what they're used to seeing. They're used to being in the city, and you know, there's stores and there's different things to do, and out here there's nothing.
And so that inspired you to write a poem?
I wrote this poem right after that day. I probably went home that night and did it. Just thinking about how close those of us in agriculture really are, but how far away we can be from the mainstream, and how close people can come past us and never even realize we're there. I titled this one, You Don't See Me. You don't see me. I am of the drive-by people. 65 feet from the yellow stripe on an old gray. No, not for sale. We follow 30 head of good first calf heifers. You don't see me. You see unmanicured, sunburnt grass. Vast open miles of nothing. No shopping malls, no supersize it, no double shot make it skinny, no neon flashing to hypnotize in a gotta get it right now store. You don't see me. I'm in your way. 72,000 pounds cat diesel screaming 4,000 gallons at a time, keeping you 10 under when you want to be 20 over. A black smoke rolling, lumbering roadblock that you'll risk your life to get around. No, I won't take the ditch for you. You don't see me. My rain-drenched face, upturned, hands full of precious mud after 100 days without. Or my tears. They fall on the still wet hide of the calf that I just couldn't save. Boots walking the floor at midnight trying to balance too many and too few. And where is the grass? Where is it not? Can baby calves walk that far? And how many days till we ask them to walk again? And where do we go then? No, you don't see me. You can keep your multi-line fax-clacking copier reeking for formaldehyde-scented, carpeted, star-rated suffocation boxes. Out here, I can take a deep breath. I feel the sun, the wind. I bury my face under a horse's mane and my world is right. And I am home. And I'm grateful that you don't see me.
I feel like the future of agriculture for women is a bright future. There are so many girls that I know that are in college and that's what they want to do. They want to own their own wineries. They want to be winemakers, and the sky's the limit for them. And you know, no one was here like telling me everything to do, but the two men that were in their 80s were, and they opened up their heart, their books, everything to me and told me every single thing to do. They're no longer here with us. So I don't know if I started this company, this business out today in this year, if that would happen again. But I definitely want to make sure that I pass along whatever knowledge I can, because you don't know it till you grow it. You can be in books all day long in a college, and you can be in books in high school all day long and maybe want to be an olive oil producer or maybe want to be a winemaker, but until you grow it, I always say that you don't know it. So I have a lot of those girls that come out and they'll intern, and it just breathes just life into the entire business and the entire agriculture world.
Agriculture to me is one of the most important jobs or industries in the world. And so many people, first off, so many people don't realize where their food even comes from. And the second thing is people don't realize that most everything they touch, plastics, drywall, paint, most everything has a component of agriculture. Insulin has a component of agriculture, of a cow. And people don't see you when you're in agriculture. They drive by, they go zooming down the highway, they look at country like this and think, oh, there's nothing there. And they don't see the people that give 24/7, 365, their entire lives to be sure that everyone in this country eats and eats well. It's available to them, that they have different products that they need. To be a part of an industry that is really so critical to everyone in the world, whether they realize it or not, whether they appreciate it or not, to me is just very, very rewarding.
Production funding for American Grown, My Job Depends on Ag, provided by James G. Parker Insurance Associates, helping to protect and grow Valley agribusiness in California for over 40 years.
By the Gar and Esther Titillion Charitable Foundation, a legacy of giving to support the people that make agriculture grow.
Farms Feed Families, Public Television Feeds Minds. By Brent, Professional Agriculture, supporting the heroes that work hard to feed a hungry world every day. By Unwired Broadband, today's internet for rural Central California, keeping Valley agriculture connected since 2003. By Harris Farms, a tradition of working forward to protect the future of water, ranches, and farms in California and beyond. And by Valley Air Conditioning and Repair, family-owned for a half-century, dedicated to supporting Valley agriculture and the families that grow our nation's food.